7th grade. This is 7.1, video number 1. In chapter 7, we're going to solve inequalities. We'll start off with one-step inequalities. Now, solving an inequality is just like solving an equation. You follow the same steps. So we're going to get the variable on one side. We're going to isolate the variable on one side of the inequality, and everything else will be on the other side. Now, here are the types of inequalities that you will see. First off, here is the less than symbol. You can remember this because it looks like a sideways L. That's how I remember it. Anytime you see a symbol that looks like that, that means less than. This symbol means less than or equal to. It's less than because of the sideways L, and then that line underneath the less than symbol means equal to. So we read this as less than or equal to. So we have less than or equal to, then we have greater than. Greater than is the symbol that's opposite of the L. So if the L, sideways L, is less than, if this symbol does not look like a sideways L, well, that's the greater than symbol. Finally, you have the greater than or equal to. So it's just a line underneath the greater than symbol. So these four, you need to memorize what they stand for. Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Okay, I'm going to do 4 examples. Here's example number 1. Example number 1, we have y minus 5 greater than or equal to, that's what that symbol means, y minus 5 greater than or equal to negative 7. I need to isolate the variable, so get the variable on one side and everything else on the other. So right now I have y on this side, the left side. I got to move this negative 5 over here. So to move it, I got to add 5 to both sides, right? So that those 5s will cancel and I'll be left with y. My inequality stays the same. It's still greater than or equal to. And then on the right side, you got negative 7 plus 5. That's negative 2. So I read this as y is greater than or equal to negative 2. Now, I need to put this on the number line. What does this look like on the number line? Well, I'm going to go to negative 2 on the number line. So here's negative 2. I can have values for y that are negative 2, that are equal to negative 2. So if there is a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to inequality, we use a closed circle. So a circle that's colored in on that number. So here our number is negative 2. I'm going to use a closed circle. Okay? Now I want values for y that are greater than negative 2. So if it's greater than negative 2, I need to go to the right. So basically I'm shading all these values to the right of negative 2. Okay, what this is saying is that all of these values that are negative 2 or greater than negative 2 satisfy this inequality. It makes the inequality true. Like, let's just take, for example, if I pick 1. If I pick 1 and put it in for y, this inequality is true. 1 is greater than negative 2. It's greater than or equal to negative 2. So this value, since it's shaded on the line, satisfies that inequality. Example number 2. In example number 2, I have 21 greater than 12 plus x. This time my variable is on the right side of the inequality. So to isolate it or to get it by itself, I got to move that 12 to the other side. So I need to subtract 12. And just like equations, whatever you do to one side, you do the same thing to the other side. So these 12s cancel on the right side. And on the left side, you got 21 minus 12, which is 9. My inequality stays the same. And on this side, I just have x. Okay? Now, I could leave it as that. That is correct. 9 greater than x. But normally, we put the variable first. Like here, we have the variable first and then the number. Right here, we have number then variable. Right? It's normally written as the variable first. So I need to basically change how this looks. So I'm going to put the x first. And the way that you can remember this is this inequality, you can sort of view it as like an alligator mouth. It's eating the number 9, like the alligator's mouth is about to eat the number 9. So if you put your variable first, the alligator's mouth still needs to point or eat the number 9. So in order for it to eat the number 9, it's got to look like this. Okay? So as you can see, if I write the variable first, my sign changes. And the only reason my sign changes is so that I'm saying the same thing. Right? These are the same thing, they just look different since I'm putting the variable first. Okay? I think by putting the variable first, it's easier to graph on the number line. So now that you have your inequality, which I read as x less than, right? That's the less than symbol. X less than 9. So if I have a less than or a greater than inequality, I'm not going to use a closed circle on that integer. I'm going to use an open circle. So on the number 9, I'm going to draw an open circle on that number 9. And then I want all the values that are less than 9. So if I want values that are less than 9, I got to go to the left of 9. All of these values would satisfy the inequality. Okay? So I shade all of these values. I shade all of the values to the left of 9, but not 9. Right? Because if I try 9 in for the inequality, 9 is not less than 9. Okay? But let's say if I put 7 in for x, 7 is less than 9. And so the inequality would be true. Okay, 2 more examples. Come back up here. Okay, here we'll call this example 3. Example 3, EX for example. Okay, example 3, I have negative 4x greater than 52. Okay, I need to get x by itself. To get x by itself, I'm going to need to divide by the coefficient of x. So I'm going to divide by negative 4. Of course, I do that to both sides. Now, when I do that to both sides, these negative 4's simplify. Negative 4 over negative 4 is 1. So I get x. Now, here is the main thing for inequalities that you have to remember. I'll write it over here. Anytime you multiply or divide by a negative number, which here we did, right? We divided by a negative number. We divided by negative 4. So anytime you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must change the sign. You must change the direction of the sign. So here I divided by negative 4, and so instead of being a greater than sign, I got to change it to a less than sign so that the inequality remains true. Okay? You change it anytime you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number. All right? Keep that in mind. So I have x. I change the sign from greater than to less than. 52 divided by negative 4 would give me negative 13. So that's my inequality, x less than 13. If I put that on the number line, okay, here's my number line. Since it's a less than symbol, I'm going to use an open circle on 13, open circle on 13, and I want all the values of x that are less than negative 13. So if I want values that are less than negative 13, I got to go to the left of negative 13. All right, so it'd be all these values to the left of negative 13, but not negative 13. Okay, last example. We'll call this example number 4. Example number 4, I have y over negative 3, y over negative 3, greater than or equal to 5. Okay, here to get y by itself, I'm going to need to multiply by negative 3, multiply by negative 3. Okay, when I do that, those 3 simplify, so I'm left with y. Now I multiply by a negative number, so just like we said, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, I got to change the direction of the inequality. So instead of being greater than or equal to, it's going to be less than or equal to. And then on this side, I have 5 times negative 3, which is negative 15. So here's my inequality, y less than or equal to negative 15. Let's put it on the number line. So I'll call this negative 16, negative 15, negative 14, and so on. Since it's less than or equal to, that tells me to use a closed circle on that integer. So a closed circle on negative 15, and I want all the ones that are less than, so to the left, less than or equal to. So it can be negative 15 or anything less than negative 15. All those values would satisfy this inequality.